All right, today we are diving into one of Shakespeare's heaviest hitters, a story that's as powerful as it is heartbreaking, Othello. So whether you're cramming for an exam like the UGC Net, or you're just here for a masterpiece of pure human drama, you are in exactly the right place.
Sometimes the story can be boiled down to its absolute core, and this is it. One hero, one villain, and a jealousy so destructive it ruins everything. Wow, that pretty much captures the explosive heart of Othello, doesn't it? It's a play that really gets into the darkest parts of our emotions. And for anyone studying literature, you absolutely have to know this one. So, what's the setup? Picture this. We're in Venice and Cyprus, and we're following Othello. He's this brilliant, respected general, a real hero. He's got it all: power, respect, and he's just married the love of his life. But, and this is a big but, his entire world is about to be systematically destroyed from the inside out, all thanks to one person's manipulation and, well, Othello's own weaknesses. Okay, let's trace exactly how this tragedy unfolds. We're going to do a quick, exam-focused walkthrough of the plot, hitting all the key events that lead to the play's absolutely devastating ending. So, it all starts with a secret marriage between Othello and Desdemona. But right away, trouble is brewing. See, Othello's right-hand man, Iago, is bitter. He's furious that another guy, Cassio, got a promotion he wanted. So he cooks up this unbelievably cruel plan for revenge. The key to his whole scheme? A handkerchief. A special gift from Othello to his wife. Iago manages to get his hands on it and plants it on Cassio, making it look like proof of an affair. And for Othello, that's all it takes. The jealousy completely consumes him, and he smothers his innocent wife. It's only after he's done this that the truth finally comes out, thanks to Iago's own wife, Amelia. And faced with this unbearable horror, Othello kills himself. A complete and utter tragedy. To really get this play, you have to know the people at the heart of it. And for any exam, especially the UGC Net, knowing these characters isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential.
First, the man himself, Othello. He's kind of two people in one. On the surface, he's this incredible, powerful military leader. Everyone respects him. But he's also a classic tragic hero. He's a good man, a noble man, but he's brought down by a fatal flaw. The Greeks had a word for this, hamartia. And for Othello, that flaw is this toxic mix of jealousy, insecurity, and his total blind trust in the absolute wrong person.
And speaking of the wrong person, here he is. Meet Iago. This guy is the engine of the entire tragedy. He is not just your average villain, he is one of the most brilliant and terrifying manipulators in all of literature. Iago basically gives away his entire game plan with this one chilling line: I am not what I am. He's telling us flat out that he's a fraud. He puts on this mask of being honest Iago while he's plotting total destruction. Now, critics have this famous phrase for him: motiveless malignity. The idea is that he's evil just for the sake of being evil. But is that really true? Or is his motive just buried so deep in professional jealousy and prejudice that it makes him even more frighteningly human? That's something people still debate today. And we have to talk about the rest of the cast. There's Desdemona, who is just pure innocence, which makes what happens to her all the more devastating. You've got Cassio, Othello's loyal officer, and the poor guy who has no clue he's just a pawn in Iago's twisted game. And then there's Amelia, Iago's wife. She's the one who, in the end, bravely becomes the voice of truth, even when it costs her everything. Oh, the irony of this line. The warning comes from Iago himself, the very person planting the seeds of jealousy. This quote is more than just a famous line. It's the absolute heart of the play, and it's the perfect way to start talking about the bigger ideas at work here. So, we've got the story and the characters, but let's dig a little deeper. What is Othello really trying to tell us? Let's break down the big themes and symbols that make this play so powerful. Okay, so jealousy is obviously front and center. You can't miss it. But what feeds that jealousy? A huge theme is appearance versus reality. Iago appears honest, and he makes Desdemona appear guilty. And that lie is what leads directly to the complete collapse of trust and the ultimate betrayal. The play also digs into race and otherness. Othello's position as an outsider in Venetian society makes him feel insecure and, well, easier to manipulate. And of course, the fates of Desdemona and Amelia tell us a lot about the rigid and dangerous gender roles of the time. Shakespeare uses symbols so brilliantly here. That handkerchief, it's not just a piece of fabric, it's everything. It represents their love, their trust, and when it's lost and used as a weapon, their bond is totally shattered. Also, pay attention to all the imagery of darkness versus light in the play. It's constantly used to show the battle between Iago's deception and the truth he's trying to snuff out.
All right, lean in for this next part because this is super important, especially if you're studying for an exam. These are the literary terms that you've just got to know when you're talking about Othello. First up, the tragic hero. This idea goes all the way back to the philosopher Aristotle. A tragic hero isn't a villain. They're a person of high standing, someone you'd normally admire, but they have a major flaw that leads to their own destruction. Does that sound like anyone we know? Yep, that's Othello. Perfectly.
So what exactly is that fatal flaw? Well, there's a specific term for it, hamartia. And in Othello's case, it's this deadly cocktail of his consuming jealousy, his deep-seated insecurity, and his tragic, horrible decision to trust honest Iago.
Next term, peripeteia. This is the big one. It's the point of no return, that sudden, dramatic reversal of fortune. In this play, it's the exact moment Iago's poison takes hold, and Othello's mind just flips. He goes from absolute love to violent suspicion. And once that switch is flipped, there's no going back.
And finally, we have anagnorisis. This is that moment of critical realization, when the hero finally sees the truth. For Othello, it is probably the most devastating aha moment in all of literature. He finally understands what he's done, but it's far, far too late. So after all that, the story, the characters, the tragedy, what are we left with? What's the big takeaway? Why does a 400-year-old play still hit so hard today?
Well, when you boil it all down, Othello is a timeless, brutal warning. It shows us just how incredibly fragile trust is, and how jealousy isn't just a bad mood. It's a poison that corrodes and destroys absolutely everything it touches. And what's truly terrifying is how little it really took to cause all this chaos. It all started with just one single poisonous doubt planted by one person. That's all it took to destroy a great general, a beautiful love, and so many lives. And that leaves us with a pretty chilling question, one that's just as real now as it was then. How easily can our own perception of reality be twisted by someone we trust? You know, in our world of misinformation and social media, Iago's whispers can feel closer than ever. Thanks for joining this explainer.